Hello everybody, welcome to Tot&HAM, the weekly show from Planet FPL where James destroys the mic. You're leaving the mic alone here, mate. The weekly show from Planet FPL where James and I talk about our respective clubs in a little bit more detail than we may do on the main Planet FPL podcast. Tottenham and West Ham. James is Spurs, I'm a Hammer. And we both won at the weekend. I'm trying to remember the last time we both won on the same weekend.
A while ago.
Must have been ages ago. We haven't won for 7 games at least. So.
I'm not sure if we both won the same weekend this season. I'll have to check back. It's not happened often if it has.
It wouldn't surprise me if it has. But it's been a difficult one. But a straightforward enough win at home in the end for Spurs.
Yeah, but bar the yes and no. The game was closer than what the 3-0 scoreline had suggested at the time. Bournemouth were a better side, in my opinion, for the first 20 minutes. Then we scored and dominated for the rest of the first half, really, and had a very, very good spell in the opening 25 minutes of the second half. Then did basically exactly what we did at your place and went, we'll sit on this.
Yeah.
Particularly after Harry Wilson got the first, actually, it was like, okay, stop this. And it was very comfortable. Then they got a second, and there was an absolute nightmare moment at the end where Vertonghen had to pull out a worldie of a tackle to deny Callum Wilson. Deserved to win overall, but 3-2 was probably a fair reflection of the game, actually, more so than 3-0, as it could well have ended up.
Yeah. I suppose one of the big talking points is Dele Alli, being that he picked up 2 goals. A lot of people have got eyes on Dele Alli now, and he is playing very far forward centrally. And if you keep knocking these long balls through, then he's going to get the end of it for you, isn't he?
How did I know you were going to bring up this long ball
I
stuff?
should tell you my message to a mate of mine the other day was... what's going on at Spurs with all this niggly fouling, long ball football? You're playing in white and blue. You're basically the Bolton Wanderers of the South now. You may as well have got Big Sam. Obviously, tongue in cheek.
Brilliant.
Who put the 2 through? Vertonghen put 1 ball through, and
both Alderweireld.
Alderweireld. Vertonghen wouldn't play.
There is a massive difference between long ball and long pass.
Of course.
Do not be confused. That pass, Alderweireld to Dele Alli, happened numerous occasions. Just off the top of my head, I can think of goals at West Brom and Everton in 15-16 within a couple of weeks of each other. It might even been consecutive away games where Alderweireld plays that same pass, Dele coming from an inside left-hand channel, and us getting the benefits of it. So this was a tactic that was used often under Pochettino. It's not a big deal. People make more of a big deal. Look at that. Mourinho's in his long ball. Mate, Toby's been trying that ball every week for Spurs for 3-4 years. This just happened to be. Well, we scored twice as well. So obviously
it's highlighted.
It shows up more than that. I couldn't think of another time in the game other than the 2 goals where that pass happened.
Yeah.
They have a really good relationship, Alderweireld and Dele Alli. They haven't the last couple of years because Dele's been playing so much deeper. But now that's back. Dele knows that Toby is the one player from that back line.
Who can pass
and to be honest, even Dyer and Winks in front or whomever's going to be in that area, Toby's the one who can play that pass. Dele knows. If Toby's at feet and time, Dele will make that run in behind. And it's just a case of Harry just dropping a couple of yards short. Dele will vacate the space. Obviously in the first goal, Son, same thing.
Yep. Just
filling into that space, both coming from left into central areas.
I picked up a nice little double assist from Heung-min Son. He's ticking along. He's now up to 9.8 million. He's going to keep rising. I still think off the back of what I saw that Son is the most reliable of the assets. I could easily see Dele Alli going 2 or 3 weeks without any attacking returns, whereas Son, if he's not explosive and picks up a goal and an assist, he'll always tick along. I just feel like he'll always get you at least 1 of something with Heung-min Son, 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4. So I'm very happy holding on Son at the moment.
I think in the immediate fixtures, Dele Alli is the better prospect.
If you were buying now, you'd buy. Well, Dele Alli is a best part of £1.3 million cheaper as well.
Which is important to say.
Massive difference in price at 8.5.
It's not to put anybody off, Sonny. It's just little things tactically that I think particularly in the upcoming games that you would favour Dele, who's gone back into this position that was so successful with Harry Kane. And that's the major difference we're talking about here. We're talking about Dele in the position where Dele was a monster FPL asset previously years ago. So right now it's Dele. And Dele as well is one of those players, when he's in that position, it's not fixture dependent. And there's a few games coming up. I think United away, Wolves away. He's got an amazing record against Chelsea, which is coming up at home in December as well. I'd fancy Dele more than Sonny for returns. I really, really would. Then the fixtures afterwards, the sort of the Southamptons, Norwiches and Brighton home and that, I'd fancy Dele, Sonny more.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little fixture dependent. Ali, you can run through the fixture, doesn't matter. He'll score in the big games. It's all about the positioning for him. And essentially, the only things Mourinho's done to change so far is put Ali back in that position. And obviously this very interesting aspect of what's happening with fullbacks at the moment, where left back doesn't move. We've seen 3 games now. Ben Davies against West Ham, Danny Rose against Olympiacos, and Vertonghen against Bournemouth on Saturday, where left back doesn't advance. Essentially with the ball, they all kind of shuffle to the right and it almost becomes a back 3. And Aurier gets as high almost to a right wing back position. And Son has a left wing back position almost. Sonny's holding the touchline for long periods to keep that balance.
He did against us as well. Both him
it's
and
really
Moura
interesting. I
right.
didn't notice it in the West Ham game, and probably because West Ham Spurs and I'm watching the game and I've got a beer in my hand because I'm in the pub. I'm not looking at the game.
And you're on
tactically
telly as well,
way.
right? Which is completely
such
changes
a better. I mean, my seat's up high at Spurs. You get such a better perspective. It became obvious in the Olympiacos game. I'd never done it before. A few people might have seen the tweet I sent out. I actually got my phone out and started taking pictures during the first half of the Bournemouth game because it was so obvious. And I guess even more so because Vertonghen's a natural centre-half, right?
Yeah.
So he doesn't have that natural tendency to push on into an advanced fullback position. So he's the best solution there at left back while Ben Davies is going to be out for a while.
Yeah, if the tactic allows Aurier to bomb forward as well, was getting a little bit of attention. It was him, Dele, Son were all getting a little bit of attention when Jose came in. Aurier, you still can't be put off Aurier at 4.8 million, I think.
You absolutely can.
You think he's still going to be a garbage?
I think...
4.8, who else would you buy at that price? There's not that many other players.
From the games so far, the 2 players that have impressed the most are Dele Alli and Serge Aurier. I think Serge Aurier has played, I even said straight away in the West Ham game, I thought he did all right. And you can't argue from the fact that he's had the assist in the West Ham game for Kane's goal. He scored himself against Olympiacos and assisted, although it was a freak goal that Dele Alli scored to make it 2-1 on the night. And for the 3rd goal on Saturday, Son's crossing for Aurier. It's just Sissoko gets there.
Yeah.
So he could have well had another one there. Now, from that perspective, that's attractive. Spurs are not keeping clean sheets. I mean this absolutely seriously. Forget Mourinho, it's not happening.
No one's keeping clean sheets though. We talked about this already. Like there's G Wiz on Twitter. He fellow Hammer. He puts out the percentage chance of clean sheets week in week out. We were at 9%, I think, and Crystal Palace were at 17%, and then everybody else completely fluffed it at the weekend.
Yep.
Liverpool did what Liverpool do, is concede a single solitary goal as always. And there aren't that many clean sheets to be had. So we are looking at these defenders for attacking returns now more than anything else. And he has got them in him. He's gonna play consistently now, you'd think, right?
Yep. He's also very capable of getting you 1s and 0s.
And minuses and red cards and all the rest of the craziness.
Well, the reality is, so this is like where you can do whatever you want with stats, right?
Yeah.
3 games under Mourinho, 10 goals scored. Yeah, I'm also looking at 6 conceded against 3, with respect, average sides. Because Bournemouth only really played for the first 20 minutes and probably the last 5 minutes at the weekend.
So basically,
and Olympiacos were toilet. And this is not going to change defensively for Spurs until one of 2 things happens. Either Lloris returns or we buy a new goalkeeper. Because the guy between the sticks, albeit 10 times better than Roberto, is poor. And I maintain this, and I've maintained it for quite a while. Gazaniga's given him heart attacks at the back. And I don't feel any confidence in him.
He's not a bad shot stopper. He's made
average.
a few decent
He's
saves.
average. I would say there are, of the current 20 starting goalkeepers, I would say 15 or 16 of them at least are better.
Yeah, but he is a reserve goalkeeper, you got to remember.
It doesn't include David Martin, by the way.
Who's now officially cemented himself as our number one for the time being.
Look, I can't... defensively, my point being there defensively, yes, you can look at Aurea at 4.8 million. Oh, is it 4.9? It might be 4.9.
He may have gone up, actually.
He might
You're
have.
right.
But it's only going to be the attacking returns. Now, there might be some. There might be some. I think the fixtures are too difficult, in my opinion, coming up with Man United tomorrow. Burnley at home Saturday's always awkward. We've never battered them since we've come up under Sean Dyche. We've always won by like the odd goal or drawn the game. Other than one good, a couple of a 2-0 and a 3-0 at Turf Moor, actually, but have always been low scoring home games. Then it's Wolves away, then it's Chelsea at home. I don't feel like you should be firing into Spurs with those fixtures. And I know United look dead average at the moment, but we have a poor record up at Old Trafford. Admittedly, yes, 3-0 up there last year. I think there are 4 fixtures that could go either way. Now, Spurs could do badly in them. It's actually probably more likely that Spurs will do very well in them, I think, because there's enough of bounce now. But I think Mourinho's been fortunate in the sense that he started with some nice fixtures here. And I don't think we should read too much into anything yet, honestly.
How do you feel about Jose compared to 2 weeks ago?
Better. And the reason I feel better is because first thing is no shenanigans yet, but let's see what happens once we've lost the game, right? That's the first thing. I mean, that's the greatest fear of all. It's like, don't drag me into all that shit that he was dragging United into about, respect 3 times and all that crap that he comes. I don't want none of that comes with him. I know what he does it for, to take the pressure off the team and all that and make it about him. I get that. So far, so good. He's come in. I think he's been told personally, shut your mouth.
Whether or not he'd listen, I think he's old enough that he knows that.
I think while we're winning, he'll shut his mouth. I think it's fine.
He's got a reputation to rebuild a little bit after United, not massively, but a little bit.
He can't resist that odd comment. Like I said, he said, I suppose after the game at the weekend, he said, well, Spurs fans would be happy we scored 10 goals in 3 games. He's not wrong.
No.
One of the things I asked when Pochettino, I said, I need to go back and start enjoying my team again. And for the majority of the 3 games, I have. And the reason I feel better about it is because he's made subtle changes. Mm-hmm. Ones that were blinding obvious in hindsight, like Dele Alli.
Yeah. I think Dele was improving.
Poch got into a place. I think it was a turning point for Liverpool as well. The 4-1 game at Wembley a couple of years ago, where Spurs played 5-3-2 basically, rather enforced, where he had to play Eriksen and Ali in deeper positions with, I think it might have been Harry Winks on the day. It could have been Dyer, forgive me. But he had to play them in a midfield 3 and he played Son up front with Kane. And we battered them in the first half. And 4-1 by the end of the game was a fair reflection. And everything's gone well for Liverpool then. And you can argue by the Champions League run, it's been declining for us. And I think Pochettino got it into his head then that Son could be like a superstar forward and a great foil for Kane. And that day, they looked unbelievable together.
Yep.
I still like Sonny out wide, personally.
Even from a wide position, he gets into the box. He's not necessarily a run down and cross it in kind of guy. He's always breaking into the box. And the thing with Sonny is that he's got a finish on him, man.
Oh, left or right, doesn't matter.
Yeah. He's got a real finish on him. I've said it before on the show. He's a player, if you own him in FPL, he's enjoyable to own. So I'm quite happy owning Sonny there. So far, so good. No rocking the boat with Mourinho.
No, look,
you've got a midweek game now.
He was never the guy that I wanted. I've made that clear several times over. He's got my backing at the moment. I can't change it. So far, if I take away that he's Jose Mourinho and that's his start, I'd go okay. And I've got a little bit of sympathy with the defensive stuff because of the goalkeeper. It's making people nervous, in my opinion. Just on Aurea, before we move on to your lot, obviously it's been really interesting tactically to watch this idea of one fullback doesn't move and the other bombs on and kinds of, it's almost like a rotational position. So then Winks, and if it's say Winks right-sided centre midfield and Sanchez right-sided centre half, you just funnel along and rotate in a position. It's one formation with the ball and one without it. It'll be really interesting to see if Aurier plays that way at Old Trafford on Wednesday, considering he'll be up against Rashford. That's what I'm interested to see. And at this point, in a more difficult game on paper than the ones played so far, is Mourinho brave enough to do it again? Because it will give United some problems, but then United's strength is that counter-attack. That's what they want, is that space in behind, particularly in those wide areas. So that's a really fascinating thing to watch out for at Old Trafford on Wednesday.
I might put, I wonder with Amazon Prime, are they limiting how many games you can watch simultaneously? Because I'll have my tablet, my laptop and TV all logged into Amazon Prime. So in theory, I could watch 3 or 4 games at the same time, surely.
You can watch at least 3, I think. I don't think there's a limit on the devices.
There we go. So I'm going to try.
It's a shame that Spurs are playing Wednesday night. But yeah, I'll certainly be 2 devices Tuesday and Thursday night.
They've staggered so you get like when one game goes to half time, that's when the other one kicks off. 8:15 and 7:30 kickoffs.
So there's on each night is one game that kicks off at 8:15. The idea being you can watch the first half of one, then all of the other, or do it the other way and watch the second half.
Dip in and dip out.
The other one. So
yeah, ours is the 7:30 at Wolves.
Obviously Wednesday I'll just be watching Spurs. I don't care about anything else.
West Ham. I didn't obviously watch the whole of the game because it wasn't televised, and I don't have access to this extended highlight stuff on Sky. So I've only seen the match of the day highlights and anything and everything that I could find on YouTube thereafter, which again was only 5 or 6 minutes of the game. I think it's very hard to get a perspective of the game with that. But there are certain things that you can take out that you can instantly see. First being Antonio. The difference between a mobile striker that's getting in, making runs and creating opportunities compared to a static Haller is completely different. And Haller will struggle to get back into the team. If he's playing with one striker up front, I don't see how Haller can get back into the team right now.
Well, he can't leave Antonio out.
No. It's just passion, desire, hunger, and that kind of thing. So it was interesting to see that. I think the other thing is David Martin. I don't think necessarily he set the world alight, but I think just that confidence of a clean sheet and making your debut. And now the emotion's out of the way, and you could see how the other players rallied around him and enjoyed that moment. I think it's built that certain level of bond that they can carry through into the next few games. You don't see Roberto coming back into the team either now. I think David Martin will be there.
There's more chance of you getting in goal or Lee from FPL family.
Yeah, true. He's got his Sandico gloves ready to rock and roll. So David Martin, I mean, he was tidy enough, and I think you just need that little level of confidence. He's probably, give or take, the same as Gazaniga.
I think the biggest thing was, we spoke about this so much, how the ironic cheering doesn't help and all that.
No.
It got to a point where that wasn't going to go away.
No.
And I think he made a couple of saves early in the game at Stamford Bridge on Saturday, and you could hear the cheering was different. It was like, yeah, we've got to back this guy.
Yeah, I mean, he's Alvin Martin's boy, isn't he? So he's going to get that additional love as well.
He just had the fans on, because rather than the fans sitting there and fearing, they were sitting or standing and willing.
Yeah.
Completely two different emotions.
It's true.
And I think that the players obviously wanted him to do really well. It's not to say, I don't know what kind of character Roberto is or something. But I think there was a willingness all round for this guy
you saw his post-match interview. He's a humble, simple guy. To be making your debut in the Premier League at 32, it's quite late in his career.
33, I think.
Is he 33 now? Is late in your career. It's even more emotional to think like, you know what, I've worked all my life playing football, and finally now at 32, 33, I'm getting into the Premier League. But that was obviously a positive. He made that double save, and I could easily see Roberto fucking that up.
Well, I mean, the double save, the second save actually would have been ruled out for, I think it was Drew, was offside.
Was he offside?
Yeah. But the first save from Kovacic,
spilt it.
It's not great.
He spilt it, but he still recovered.
But he saved it.
Yeah, he recovered.
It's a start.
And then you look at the team overall. We just played with more movement. I could see the fullbacks bombing on down the wing, and just dynamism suddenly changed the game. Having said that, Chelsea had a lot of chances as well. I think 19 attempts on goal in total. I don't know how many of them were all on target or not, but also felt like there was quite a few from in and around the edge of the box with Pulisic, and Reece James hit a few. And
only one on target for Chelsea in the second half. That's impressive. Well done.
Yeah, I mean, they were taking pot shots from in and around, which...
you got to know when you go somewhere like that and you go in front, they're going to have a big spell. I mean, actually, after you scored, you had a few more chances to make it too, actually.
I mean, Antonio could have scored previously with a header that he put straight at Kepa. So we've got to come away from Stamford Bridge with that 3 points and just, be very happy with that. All I want to see is copy-paste in terms of movement and performance again and again and again. We've got Wolves away on Wednesday, Arsenal on Monday, followed by Southampton. So we'll lose to Wolves, beat Arsenal, lose to Southampton is what West Ham do. So I'll be interested to see what happens now.
Essentially what you did from the little of the game I've seen and can work out is it was rather than a 4-1-4-1 that we've seen commonly, was more of a reversion to two banks of four.
Yeah.
And then Felipe Anderson rather than Fornals playing centrally off of Antonio.
Yeah.
So no ball a little bit deeper with Rice. Fornals playing on the left and Snodgrass, who's a real worker, playing off the right-hand side as opposed to Yarmolenko. Cresswell preferred at left back. Fredericks in the team. And it seems like Ogbonna and Balbuena with Diop suspended did okay.
They did all right.
Dealt with it all right. So you won at Wolves on Wednesday. Same team? Diop obviously back from suspension.
I'd probably play Diop ahead of Ogbonna. I prefer Balbuena to Ogbonna most of the time, I'll be honest with you. But apart from that, the only other potential change would be switching Snodgrass out to the left and bringing Yarmolenko back. But I wouldn't change a winning team. I actually don't think it doesn't improve us that much that I would want to change a winning team. As long as Antonio's playing up top on his own, Felipe and even Fornals will find him with enough occasions. We've got good set piece takers in Snodgrass and Cresswell as well. That I wouldn't necessarily change it, I'll be honest with you. So Fornals must be fucking good in training because he keeps getting into the team. When he's played, he hasn't produced anything.
Assist at the weekend, a little role. It's all Cresswell's credit for the actual goal, but he was there involved in the play. I didn't see the incident, but apparently when Anderson was withdrawn with 20 minutes to go for Yarmolenko, there was a bit of a row between Anderson and Pellegrini.
Okay.
Which I think it's good from Pellegrini, actually, because we've spoken about him, this calm mantra. I think him giving it some back publicly is good. I mean, it's good for the short term for him.
Yeah, quite possibly.
We sat here this time last week. It was like, it's over.
What, with Pellegrini?
Now you're qualifying for Europe, I presume. That's what people have got in the sweepstakes today.
I've seen the old tweets on the bingo, podcast bingo. You're mad if you think that's even a consideration. I think this year, the fact that we're only 4 points behind you and you're in fifth, anything can happen in the league this year. Sheffield United are still going good guns. I think Wolves are still going good guns. If we got into Europe this year, it wouldn't surprise me. Also, if we ended up 18th, 19th, it wouldn't surprise me and got relegated. So no jumping up and down yet. Two very winnable games coming up with Wolves and Arsenal, in my opinion. Wolves will be a tough game, but we can win it if we play well. That's the real acid test. Talk to me this time next week after Arsenal, when I'll have seen them at home with Antonio starting up front, and then I'll be able to give you a bit more of an idea on where I stand in terms of...
I mean, we always have to...
Pellegrini.
With Antonio, you kind of have to put it out in advance if he's fit, because he does struggle a bit.
Yeah.
If he plays against Arsenal, he'll terrorise Arsenal, mate. No doubt about it. So, yeah, I mean, I could see you turning him up. I wouldn't see you getting anything at Wolves tomorrow night.
That's not. But it's not to say that we couldn't, right? That's what my thought
this
process.
Is same shite, isn't it? Going to Chelsea and suddenly this performance has come from absolutely nowhere. No. You get yourself up for it.
we know when we play with effort, we can give anybody a game. It just doesn't happen 38 games a season. It happens about 10 or 12 or 14, which is just bloody annoying. But it is what it is. Pellegrini's bought himself a little bit of time. I'm not talking about with me personally. I'm just talking about in general. And if he was to get at least another, even if he picked up a draw at Wolves and a draw against Arsenal, that's like 5 points out of the last 3 games, he would have bought himself until the new year.
So how would you feel now, considering we were kind of in agreement last week? How would you feel now if we walked out of the studio and you found out he'd been sacked and someone else was appointed, like it was already pre-done, a little bit like with Mourinho and stuff?
I suppose it depends who's been appointed, right? It really depends who's been appointed.
If it's David Moyes because you like him, you'd be all right with that?
Now, I wouldn't take Moyes over Pellegrini right now. Eddie Howe I'd take all day long. I'd take Sean Dyche right now if he was available. Who else is available? Allegri, I'd have him.
Unai Emery.
Yeah. Is he available? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why not? No, I wouldn't. I don't think it's right to sack a manager after they've gone and put that performance in, but I don't think he's out of the woods either. I want to see that again, at least in the next 2 games, 100% effort.
He maintained calm, Pellegrini, in his press conference,
Yeah.
and he spoke last Thursday about now we've got to show a little bit. So look, the response was there.
You saw Declan Rice did a little interview on the West Ham Twitter channel, 30 seconds, and he was laughing and enjoying it. He was like, look, we know we give you West Ham fans heart attacks week in, week out, but today is one of the best days of my life. And he was laughing and joking. I was like, you know what? When you're giving us these heart attacks, I ain't laughing and joking. You genuinely are depressing me, mate. So I'm glad that you've had a good day and you're like, I don't think
Somebody
that
needs
taking the
to
piss.
needs to sit Declan Rice down and give him some work on PR. I'm telling you, mate, because this guy is often making some. He was the one, wasn't he? He was like happy with the draw after Villa. He was the one who said you got bullied at Burnley.
I'd rather he's honest, though. If you ask me, I'd rather he was honest. He's second on the list behind Antonio.
As a fan, yes, but lie. Just lie about it.
He's second on the list behind Antonio in terms of effort. Him and Snodgrass, like those 3. No West Ham would want Rice, Snodgrass, or Antonio dropped right now because you know that you're getting 100% out of those guys. They're not the most talented, but they'll definitely give you the effort. And Antonio, did you see Antonio? I don't know if you follow him on Twitter afterwards about the handball.
As if I follow that guy after the dance at Tottenham.
He managed to find a Photoshop of a picture of Maradona scoring the hand of God goal. Photoshopped his own face, and then he said that it was never a handball or something. But obviously, it came off his arm.
It's easy.
There you go.
It's easy to joke when you win. I think
100%. If we hadn't won, I don't know if he'd have putting that tweet out.
Antonio has a history of doing very well at whether scoring or not scoring from a performance perspective. For West Ham in games when they're going to have less of the ball, he really is an annoying outlet. And I mean, I can't see Haller getting back in.
The thing I find crazy about Mike is...
But Antonio will break down in a couple of weeks. He's played right back and now he's playing striker. He's positionally played so many different roles for us. And obviously, if the delivery's right, we saw Kepa made a good save in the first half. The delivery's right. He's one of them. You won't stop in here. He's really good in here.
No. So a lot of positives to take from the weekend. We can't deny that. Can't get ahead of ourselves, but we've got to take the positives.
Good. Because I think you were fucking in trouble, mate. So
still are.
Get that result out of nowhere.
We still are. I mean, we'll talk on the main show. We talked on the main show because of the timings of recordings about Watford and Southampton and some of these other clubs and where they are in the spectrum of trouble. That victory's given us a massive lift. I said 6 points between now and the end of the year. We've picked up the first 3. I think realistically now I'd say I want another 5, not another 3 before the end of the year. Which is achievable.
Yeah, I mean, look, you could go on a run here, couldn't you? It could be the start of something.
Yeah, but we had that little run, and then it'll be just broken, and we'll go on a run of shit as well. So
I could absolutely foresee right now you getting something at Wolves because you know Bradley loves a 1-1 draw, right?
Yeah.
Beating Arsenal and then losing at Southampton.
Yeah,
that's the West Ham way,
that
mate.
Is it. Unfortunately. What we got on this week?
Suj has done this for the second day running. He started speaking and walked away from his mic to fix the video camera. Rest of this week, Sky tomorrow.
How many points did you get in Sky this week so far?
Oh, 85 or something.
Not bad. I'm on 88 at the moment. Plenty to go.
Thursday, Planet FPL podcast, again looking at the first 8 fixtures from Game Week 15. Friday, final plan, looking at the final 2 fixtures from Game Week 15 and ahead to Game Week 16.
Indeed. I think I'm going to roll this midweek. Are you thinking of the same?
I've moved, mate.
Oh, you've already made a transfer.
Yeah, you can listen to last night's Planet FPL podcast if you want.
Yeah. Indeed. All right, cool. Thank you for listening to Tot&HAM this week. We'll be back next week. There'll have been 2 games in between. James's lot are playing Manchester United away, followed by
Burnley at home.
Burnley at home. West Ham, we got Wolves away, followed by Arsenal at home on Monday Night Football next week. So we'll see you next Tuesday with Tottenham as per usual. Other than that, ciao for now.
Can you Spurs? Cue music, man, child.
The Fantasy Football Show.